Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. As you can see, today I have a guest with me, and I am so excited. This is Rosa Maria. She is a piano teacher at our school. We are so honored to have her. And I wanted to have you guys get to know her a little bit today. So I'm going to ask her some questions, and she's going to tell, she has a really cool story, a background story about how she came here and her experience as a piano student. And so I'm gonna let her talk about it. So, Rosa Maria, tell me about your music student career. When did you start playing music?
Hi, good morning, Erin. It's a pleasure for me to be here in your program and to be a part of Raleigh School of Music for 3 years. I started studying music, piano, when I was 9 years old with a private teacher in our house, but my parents didn't have enough money to continue doing that. And then they put me and my siblings in a conservatory, which they were really great in Venezuela. So we kept moving from state to state, and every state we go, the first thing my mother looked for was a conservatory. Even though they were not a musician, she knew that music was a very important part of every human being, and I really appreciate that she had that in mind. Um, I love music and I love to play the piano, but I never like to practice like most of my students that they love the instrument, but they don't like to sit and practice. And I want to tell all my parents that that's really normal to happen. But if we continue it just little by little, there will be one time that will click and this student will really start going forward. At the age of 15, I introduced and I signed in for a scholarship without my parents' permission to the Venezuelan government and to study music outside of the country. And for my surprise, I was accepted. And they couldn't believe my parents didn't want it to go out of the country. Of course, I didn't speak English, and I had never been out of my country, of my house. So when I graduated high school, I finally did. My father gave me a permission, and so I went to New York and I studied at Manhattan School of Music. I was accepted, although it was hard for me. I had to practice not 10 hours, but more hours than that because I wasn't ready to get into one a school like that one. And the competition was really incredible there.
I have
It
a
is.
question about that. So you came here, and so you studied with an individual teacher before you went to school
I I
here in
started
the States.
here when I came to the United States. No, I have to the teacher that I wanted to study with at Manhattan School of Music. She happened to be a lady, wonderful musician, Sonia Vargas. She's already dead, and she she was the like the best student of Claudio Arrau, which is a very famous Chilean pianist. And she knew that I didn't have money to pay for private lessons to prepare for the audition. And you know what she did? She told me, please take your suitcase and you're going to come and live in my house. Because she's in the little things that I was able to play, she was able to see that I had, like she said, hot blood run into my body,
Your
and
veins.
I want to help you. And I said I couldn't believe it. So she took me to a huge, beautiful house in the Bronx. She was married to a very famous violinist player from Hungarian, and there I was, you know, living with this strange family that I never seen in my life, and she said to me, I know that you are not prepared to come to this very difficult world, but you have the more important thing that is within yourself, you want to, you love it, and you are going to do it.
So
So
she treated you like they did back in the day of like Mozart's or Beethoven, that she was like your patron, and
she
that is amazing.
she definitely was. She gave me food, she gave me a room for myself, and she put me to practice in a room in a piano that had no sound. No, they took all she prepared especially just to practice, and they put like weight in each of the keys, and for me to I had to press really hard to be able to play scale, and
Wait a minute. So, and it had no sound?
no sound, no sound,
What?
no sound, just for technique. Ta 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 ti 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 ti, and really push hard and hard. My fingers started, like breaking because it was hard, and I had to be there for hours while they were sleeping
Wow.
practicing. So finally, I didn't have piano to practice. And after I went out of her house, I went into the apartment that I have rented. The Venezuelan consul knew that I didn't have piano, and they had a piano like in between the stairs. How do you call that, in each stairs case? And they had a piano there because they didn't need it. And so he told me, if you want, you can come here to the Venezuelan consulate in New York and practice. And I said, really? I didn't care that I bother nobody. So I will go there and practice. I mean, I did whatever I have to do to be able to do my audition. And thank God I was accepted.
Oh my
You
gosh, it's I feel like that is your life could be a movie.
know?
I feel like it could be a movie.
My students said, Rosa Maria, before you die, you have to write a book.
You have to write it totally. So okay, so when did you learn how to speak English?
Then there,
During all that?
yeah, I mean, I was 18 years old after I graduated from high school that I came to the States. The scholarship told me, okay, we are able to pay you some English courses in New York, but once you are accepted into the music school, we won't be able to pay for both things.
Wow.
So they throw me into a English school with a lot of people from China, from Greece, from all over the world, and Spanish speaking people too. And you know what I did, Erin, is I never ever in New York tried to speak to Spanish speaking people. I wanted to learn English quickly. So I was with Greek people. I mean, we didn't know how do we talk, but we did. But I didn't speak my language. And in 6 months, I was able to, not very fluently, but I was able to speak, and I was able to go to the audition to speak to the judges there, the jurors. And once I was accepted, it was even more incredible because the first subjects that I have to take, one of them was philosophy. Can you imagine philosophy in English? And I didn't understand very much English. I mean, to read Socrates, Plato, all of those, and me looking for translating.
That, I mean, is amazing. All of the things that you were doing at the same time. Let me ask you this. Was there fear? I mean, were you afraid of coming and, not knowing the language when you first got here and not really knowing anybody? I mean,
No, I
no?
wasn't afraid. Mm-mm. I wasn't afraid. I believe in God, and I knew that if that scholarship was given to me, this girl that didn't really play much, and they did, yes, we want to send you to the United States to study what you want to study. And I said, this is for me, so I have to try to do it. And I
I mean,
did
you're
it.
minimizing it just like the way you talk about it. It's like no big deal, but that's a huge to be a teenager to go
It's
and move to another country by yourself and not knowing anybody, not knowing the language,
yes.
and getting ready for I mean, Manhattan School of Music is one of the best music schools in the nation, and all of that together, it was It's a lot. So were you
It
afraid?
was,
You weren't afraid at
it was
all.
too much. I think I didn't know what it was really, until I run into this piano teacher that she made me think what I was doing.
Mm.
She is the one that told me, you are here and this is what you came for. And this is what at the beginning, it was for me, oh my God, I wanted to get out of my house. My parents were really strict, and I say, no, I want to get out, and I got this scholarship. Oh my God, New York. Of course, my mother and my father, they suffer a lot because they knew how New York was. And in the beginning, they didn't understand what to study music was. So they thought that, oh my God, there she goes. She's going to be a TV star or a show star, and we don't want that for her. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but
But
it
it
is
worked out though, right? Because you
it
went to
was it
school
was
and
very dangerous. In that time I was studying was the 80s. That was New York was a very dangerous place to be,
Mhm.
and the subway station was really bad. Times Square was horrible, and nothing ever happened to me. And I heard a very very bad story about other classmates, and for me, I was always protected. I was always protected, and I moved really close to the school, so I only had to walk like half a block to get to the music school and to practice once I was there. Then I that was one of my big dreams in my life, to be able to graduate with all the competition that I had around, you know, because I had most of my
everybody
class.
who's good at piano goes to New York. So
Right, exactly, and they all play much more than I did, um, but they didn't have what my teacher said that I had. That was that really warm vein
yeah,
about.
you have the emotion, you have the
Yeah,
feeling.
of
Yeah.
feeling, and that had been with me for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
mean, it's too bad that I wasn't able to really practice for hours and to go out there and play in recitals halls. I know that that's very hard to make your living. To be a
Yes.
musician and to make your living is one of the hardest things in the world.
Definitely.
But I can say that most of my classmates that graduated at Manhattan School of Music with me, they're not a musician anymore. I mean, they went into lawyer business, and some of them are doctors.
Wow.
They didn't continue because it is hard, to. But for me, I've been doing music my whole life, and I've
I
been
can tell that you are a very good player through your students because of how sensitive they are. But I have to ask this. This is not on my questions, but how are the music schools, the conservatory different in Venezuela versus, say our school or say just schools in the States?
It's very different. Yesterday, I was speaking to Cindy
Hmm.
at the school, and
Hmm.
I said to her, it's too bad that here the music doesn't work for kids like it work in Venezuela.
Yeah, how do they do it?
I
How do they
mean, Venezuela is almost free. The conservatories, you just pay a little bit, the registration fee, and maybe like $5 a month.
Oh,
And
wow.
in those $5, you get to be, if you play an orchestra instrument, you get to be in an orchestra no matter your age. 6 years old, 8 years old, like, little kindergarten. They have kindergarten movement for kids 3, 4 years old, and then they take music history, they take dictation, musical dictation, rhythm dictation, musical language. Many years. My students that graduated from that school with me, they had to be 10 years. So their whole time of being in the school before graduating from high school, they were doing this parallel to their schools, going to the music school, and now they're pianists, and they're all over the world in different countries, teaching or playing, and it's it's much more, this kind of, it's
Yeah.
not it's so hard for
Yeah.
us to teach in half an hour
Yes.
the instrument, your conviction of what you want the kid to be, because I am very, into that. It's not, I cannot just be teaching there, okay, play C, okay, D, now E. No, it's this is not me,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but it's so hard to
So
do
let me
it.
ask you this. When you're in conservatory, do you go immediately after school? Is that what it is? Or do you go during school? Do you go during the day?
You go after school. You go
Ah,
after school. It doesn't happen in the morning. In the morning happens for adults that want to, that like the parents of these kids that want to learn. Like I
are they
wanted to say,
private schools? Or is it a private school or is it a public school?
it's a
Do they?
public school. They're public. You
Wow.
just pay. You just pay to help. You know, to cut the grass or to help for something. To buy the buy
Ah,
things for people, that pencils, the paper. It's free. The government really help on that.
wow.
And I, I have to say very, very happily that Venezuela has one of the most important orchestra system in the whole world, with our wonderful uh, director, conductor, Gustavo Dudamel, which is going to be now the New York Philharmonic
Yes,
conductor,
he's amazing.
and he's only 40 years old kid.
Wow.
He's from my city. I play with him. I accompany him. He's a wonderful violinist. Yes, and
What city are you from?
Barquisimeto,
Barquisimeto.
right?
I said it kind of Italian, but yes, Barquisimeto.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he's from that city, and in our conservatory there is beautiful. I worked there for many, many years, and like I say, they have to do for free. They have to do choir. They have to do musical history. They have to choose an instrument,
Ah.
and we get paid really bad. I mean, the government pay us not so good, but we love to do it.
Yeah, well, you said they had to. So students had to play an instrument?
They have to play an instrument.
Wow.
So when they're little, they from 3 years old and up to 6 years old, they call it like a musical kindergarten, and they go there with the parents, and they have an orchestra for the little ones, and
Cute.
for the piano is the instrument that you have to be a little bit older to there is no kindergarten. So
Oh,
you are like 6 years old, and then they go around the whole school, and they go into the teacher's room to meet the teacher. And look, and this is the piano, and this is Rosa Maria Pimentel teaching here, and this is the violin, and this is the teacher. And we play a little bit for them, and they decide which instrument they like,
oh,
and then they pick out an instrument. You know,
wow.
it's not that the parents made them practice something because the parents never were able to study an instrument, so they want to do that on their kids. No, they choose, I mean, we have wonderful musicians all over the world, Erin. The first bass player in the Berlin Philharmonic is a guy from Venezuela, from a very, very poor and dangerous place in Caracas.
Wow.
And he was taken out of where he lives. He was given an instrument. He was given the opportunity. Let's come here. You're not going to do drugs. You're not going to be an alcoholic. You're not going to be on the street being pandilleros. Let's come here. And that was a beautiful thing that Maestro Jose Antonio Abreu did for our country. He's also up there. You
Yeah.
know,
That's amazing.
yeah, it
That
is
is so cool. It just shows what your country really prioritized. I feel like a lot of Central and South America, and also Europe, they prioritize music in that way. And so it's much more
Yeah,
public. So
yeah.
that's always very interesting. Okay, so we have time just for one more question. So let me so last week I talked a little bit about happiness. So what makes you what is on your happy list? What makes you happy when you think about it?
On my happy list, well, after taking away my family, being happy with my family, that's the first thing that, like my son called me this morning to say good morning. That makes me really happy, and my grandchild. But really, Erin, really, really, you won't believe if I tell you this. What makes me the most happy is to see my student playing happily. Is to see the way they growing, the way they and I'm not saying this because I work with you. No, it's
Yeah.
it's because this is something that fulfill me. When I see two grandparents like yesterday, I call them to hear their grandchild, 7 years old kid, and they sit there and they hear the kid playing four hands with me, and they crying crying because this kid is not a really nice and quiet kid. I mean, he's a nice kid, but he has some character. And like he told me, no, I don't want to start the recital with that piece. And I say, yeah, because this piece is happily to end. No, but why did you say that that's not a happy song? That talks about love. Oh, because it's very slow. No, I want to end it with that. Okay, so you want to end it. So I let the kid be himself. And then I said, why don't we try to do it a little bit faster? And he said, okay. And the grandparents were there, and they thought that he wasn't going to be able to do it. So you think for me, this is, oh,
It's what gets you going, it's what gets you through every day, right?
what gets me going, because I say I'm putting my seed of my life into this kid, and that I know that it's growing.
See, like I don't think people realize how much power that teachers, private music teachers have because you can give them so much confidence, you can believe in them and all of that. And then sometimes teachers do not. And then you can see how that students and people keep it with them through their whole lives, like how they were made to feel, they can keep
Right,
that with
right,
them. And so you have a lot of
right.
power. And
Yes,
so you use
yeah.
it for good. And Rosa Maria, if anybody knows you, Rosa Maria, you are a very passionate person and I would say dramatic and just like it's very obvious that you love this. Let me ask you one more thing, non-music related. Or I guess it's kind of music related. What do you listen to in your free time? Like what music do you listen to? Like what
I had no time to listen to music. You imagine that?
like I don't have time for that. Okay.
When I go
You
in
like
my car, I listen to things that have to do with God.
okay. Okay.
Um, I
Do you like to
pray.
read? Do you
I
read or do you watch good movies or
Yeah, Erin, I had no time. I work all day. So what I'm loving now much also is my other job, playing this modern music, Coldplay, and
she
yes,
plays for Wake County School or not just Wake County, all over, right? North
yes,
Carolina. She
Wake
plays
County
with
and Duke over there in Durham. I'm working in Durham too. So you have no idea how much I learned from them too, and to be able to put that into. I told you the other day, because the patience that we have to have with these kids at public school is something that you do it because you really love it, and you have to help these kids to find that some of them are like they're not really happy in their house, and they have a lot of difficulties going on in the little age of 10 years old, and then we have to help these kids to find to be
stability and
resilience, to have imagination, to grow and to grow happy. And that all this I'm translating it into my private students, which are a much different kind of students. They are loved by their parents. The parents care for them. And but sometimes, you need to like reinforce that, you
definitely.
can do it, you are great, you're doing great, and some of them are really shy. And so I'm trying to help to this shy kid to be a little bit more expressive, if not with their mouth, with their playing.
Oh, I love it. See, it's a beautiful way to end. You have put such a mark on this community, on your students, on our school. You are such a talented, loving teacher. And I just thank you so much for being with us and kind of being with us. And you and we've had to kind of get to know each other a little bit through these 3 years. And I just really respect you and just am so thankful to have you at the school. You are an asset to our team. And I've learned so much about being passionate about it. Like you really bring out the passion in me as a director. So I appreciate that.
I really appreciate you too, Erin, because if I wasn't happy, I wouldn't be there. And first of all,
You wouldn't. You are a strong-willed person. You do what
well,
you want,
and,
you know?
and and I have to say that you are a very committed person. Really, you love your school, and you've been trying to do the best. And I'm glad that you speak, like at least with me. You ask me what I think, and that's the best thing, to ask with your coworkers to to find solutions, and you always trying to find a solution. And I'm happy because you're happy, and so we all have to be happy because
That's right.
we work together.
One life on this earth, right? One life. Right. Anyway, you kind of froze there a little bit. I just said one life on this earth. But Rosa Maria, thank you so much for talking with me today. And I just maybe we'll have to interview you again. I have a lot more questions for you. So if you're cool, maybe sometime later this summer, I'd want to interview you
Sure.
again. Is that
Thank
cool?
you. Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Thank you so much, Rosa
Thank you
Maria.
very
I'll talk
much.
to you soon. Bye. Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
good day. Bye bye.